Welcome to Inside Politics, our weekly podcast on everything you need to know about San Antonio politics. I'm Greg Jefferson, politics editor of the San Antonio Express News, and I'm joined today by county reporter Saul Pink. Saul, welcome.
Hello.
And our special guest today, because this is our election edition of Inside Politics, Bexar County Judge Peter Sakai. Judge Sakai, welcome. How's it going?
Good morning, Greg. Good morning, Saul. I
You,
know we just referred to you as Sid Pink, but I know it's Saul Pink.
yeah, we had a bit of a problem on the first take. I made him Sid. He's not Sid. He's Saul.
Sure.
So you are in the middle of what some people consider a pretty hot race. You're seeking a second term in the Democratic primary, and your challenger is none other than former San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg. How are you holding up?
We're holding up great, Greg. I believe that this race is about whether the people have maintained their trust in me as their county judge. And after 40 years as a public servant, a servant leader that has put children and families first, I am connected to this community. Many people have gone through the court system and are still with me. And today, I think for the voters, who do they trust? Do they trust me as a 40-year public servant? But remember, I've only been a county judge for 3 years, and I'm trying to change the shape and ship of the county government. And that is an ongoing process. And that's the reason why I'm asking for re-election. They'll have to judge my opponent on his 12 years as council and mayor for the city of San Antonio. And I'm confident that we will prevail in this election.
All right. So let's start with the softest of all softballs. Oh yeah, this is going to be intriguing. Yeah, you are welcome. This is just for you. What's the big thing you want to do if you win re-election in March? Apologies, in November. Yeah.
I want to stay the course. I have committed to a back to basics government, focusing on public safety, public health, accountability, open and transparent county government, effective, efficient. I want better customer service. People need to understand that I was part of county government for 30 years as a district court judge. I saw how things are. So when my opponent says, it's not family court, I differ in that opinion because every decision we make on Commissioner's Court affects children and families. I want children and family-centric, focused county government so that we're making sure that in public safety, we're taking care of law enforcement, the DA's office, the courts. Public health, let's build out those 2 new hospitals and 2 new clinics. Economic development, Senko, Texas is coming in and had a groundbreaking this week. We've already had another Japanese industry, both setting up corporate headquarters here. We got economic growth. Economic growth means economic prosperity. So yesterday, Saul Pink, you covered it. The endorsement by the San Antonio Police Officers Association, the San Antonio Firefighters, the Deputy Sheriff's Association, the Emergency Service District County Firefighters, and CLEAT. They all endorsed me. And the takeaway yesterday was, you don't change quarterbacks when you're winning the game. And so that's the reason why I believe come November, I will be.
So kind of a stay the course approach, but does that include fixing the kind of wasteful double magistration system?
I've been advocating from day one.
Let's for people who may not be familiar with the double magistration system, define it for us. What do you see? If you consider it a problem, what's the problem?
The problem is it's constitutionally flawed. And as a former district court judge, I understand the rule of law. And one of my jobs is to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. What I mean by that in regards to double magistration is people go through 2 separate duplicate processes. First, at the city magistrate through the city of San Antonio police officers. And that's where they're booked. The problem is they stay there 6 to 12 hours, sitting there. Then they go to the county and it is duplicated. Because this law mandates the county magistrates are the magistration system, especially county jail. But more importantly, in order to get diversion and deflection, which is a big part of trying to get people diverted or deflected from going into jail, those services are at the county magistrate.
Right.
And so when they go over there, I've heard horror stories, people being kept in the magistration 24, 48 hours.
Right. And we're talking
A lot
about
of people are denied their medications. They're not getting medically assessed. That's the reason why I believe it's constitutionally flawed. The law supports that the county magistrate is the magistration that is obligated to provide the services.
Right.
And so I'm county judge. My vision and plan is to merge it, to create, if we need to, go to an expense to accommodate whatever the concerns are by the city of San Antonio, because they have issues the way the
so that
magistration obviously was created back when the predecessor
right. Yeah. So the crux of the problem is that the city of San Antonio, specifically the San Antonio Police Department, their arrestees they go through this double magistration system. They go to municipal court. It happens there, and it happens again in the jail complex where there's a max court set up. So that means this doesn't get solved without dealing with the city. Have you been talking at all with the city over the last 3 years?
Yes. And I've been rebuffed in my efforts, and they take the position that this is a system that they want to support. And I understand that it's obviously most convenient. I believe the criticism is the weight, but the suburban cities, the sheriff have no problem with the current magistration system. So I am willing to figure out, that's one of my strengths. Bring the experts together. We have a report here, our public safety report, that makes recommendations to eliminate double magistration, but also address, and Dr. Testa, in his assessment of the magistration, for which he also recommends.
And who's Dr. Testa?
Dr. Alexander Testa. I brought my notebook that has, let me read his bio. He's from the UT Medical Center, and he did a study. Here it is.
You don't have to read the whole
right. Yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Quite long.
Give us a 2-sentence synopsis.
A Bexar County Justice Intake and Assessment Annex Evaluation Study. So we have a plan how to rehaul and to make it convenient. So we definitely want to accommodate the city, and we definitely want to make it more convenient and easier for our law enforcement officers, including the San Antonio Police, especially since they've endorsed me.
Yeah.
And another thing that Dr. Testa recommended in that study that the county commissioned is a diversion facility for folks who might be better served with treatment for mental health issues, substance abuse. Where do things stand with the county building such a facility, and how might the county pay for that?
Well, our public health and our Office of Criminal Justice, public health is run by Dr. Andrea Guerrero. The public Office of Criminal Justice is by Dr. Greenfield Labordi. And what we have done is we have identified there is an opportunity by consolidating the training centers of the sheriff, one at what we call the Tudus building and the Von Ormy, moving and partnering with NEISD, Northeast Independent School District, for a school that's closing down. And so we have the opportunity now to open up space. Now, if those plans fall through, then I will be seeking and asking Commissioners Court that we just need to go ahead and consider building up not a new jail, but a new mental health facility. Perhaps we can do it on a regional basis, partnering with the rural counties. I have pitched this since day one to the legislature, is that can we create a regional mental health facility that will take care of what we call forensic beds, people that are mentally ill or people that have mental incompetency, people that do not belong. Most of the people in that Bexar County jail have mental health issues or drug and alcohol addiction issues. And so if we could divert them and get them out and get them treated, especially through our nationally renowned specialty courts or drug courts, or we deflect. Deflect means can we get them prior to? And so this past year, we overhauled the medical and mental health assessment. It's now merged to UHS. They were two silos with University Health and Center for Healthcare Services. And so we are making changes at the jail. Diversion, deflection is the way to go. If I could get the legislature to help partner with the rural counties so that they could have the same access, this would be a success in a regional way.
Does that happen without state funding? Is it something that the county could shoulder on its own?
No, we're going to need help because a new jail is a budget buster. It will require a property tax increase.
But nobody's really talking about
the sheriff. I know, but what I'm saying is that the sheriff has said that the new jail would be a $1 billion to $1.5 billion, and I don't want to put an increase on the property tax, which would put a burden on seniors, disabled vets.
I'd like to go back to the double magistration system just for a moment. I don't want to belabor the point, but you said that you were rebuffed by the city. Like you wanted to work with the city and it just didn't work out. Who were you communicating with? Was it Ron Nirenberg?
Yes.
It was mayor. And so what's your version of what, and I should point out, maybe this is a good time to do that. We're hoping that we will have Ron Nirenberg in the studio next week. So he will be on the following episode of ENside Politics. I'm sure we'll hear his version of events then, but what's your version now?
Well, it's a reflection of what we call the Public Safety Action Plan, for which has come up in debates, and I saw you've heard him. He has taken credit for this. This is a plan that was prepared by my county judge staff, Cynthia Koss. It has over 30 recommendations, including the elimination of the double magistration. And in fact, when we first met, my opponent wanted to call a press conference and say, we're all going to work together. I said, no, we need to bring people together. And Greg, that's one of my strengths, having been a public official in the court system, working with Commissioners Court. I knew that I needed to bring the experts. The criminal justice system is a complex system that consists mainly, one, is the courts, the judges that move cases. Two is the sheriff that arrests and magistrates and holds people. And then it's the district attorney's office that has to prosecute, file cases, dismiss cases, adjudicate, and move people through. And finally, it's Commissioners Court that sets the budget. And that is the four-legged stool, so to speak. And what I have tried to explain to the community, I think they accept it. The stool, the four-legged stool, isn't strong and cannot uphold the criminal justice system unless you have the rods that tie the legs together, which means communication, it means collaboration, it means coordination. And so in these 3 years, we've increased the pay and retention and come up with diversion for the sheriff, focusing again on mental health. Two is we address the backlog, for which has been resolved. And the DA's office has reported out on that because we increased salaries, we increased the number of prosecutors, we approved a budget transfer so they create a high-risk intake plan. We also supported the courts, especially the specialty courts. And so all those efforts that we've made has stabilized the jail. The jail is now under jail population. And so I understand my opponents made an issue with it, but let me remind the community that as a former district court judge, 30 years working with Commissioners Court, those systems were underfunded. I could tell you because I was a judge asking for additional funding and I didn't get it. But now, with a back-to-basics government, I have really focused in making sure that we take care of public safety. And that is one of my primary, along with public health, and obviously economic development and workforce training.
Right. So going back to the city just for a moment, then we will, I promise you, move on. Right. So you had no luck with the city in eliminating double magistration system for 3 years. What makes, if you're reelected, what makes you think you'll have any more luck going forward? What's your relationship, for example, with the new mayor?
We're working.
Ortiz-Jones?
We've reached out. We're working on it. And so I'll be real blunt. I think it's the Express News in stating its position. I believe that we have diplomatically pointed out to the city that the current system is constitutionally flawed and that it is subject to being open to litigation. And we're definitely not going to get in a lawsuit, especially as a former judge and lawyer. We don't always have to run to the court system to fix things. But I will use the fact that I believe with this election and my reelection, I'm going to use it as hey, the public has spoken. We need to eliminate double magistration, and we'll get it done. We will get it done.
Right.
We'll figure it out. And it's going to require a new deflection center that will then include the elimination of double magistration.
Right.
So there will be a cost factor, so to speak. But again, no new jail.
Do you see them happening kind of hand in hand? Like, does the elimination of the double magistration system have to happen in conjunction with kind of the creation of a diversion center?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's like bundled all
And
together.
then remember that we have now brought UHS, University Health System, Ed Banas over there. And if you talk to Ed, you will now realize that there are nearly 300 employees of UHS at the jail. That's the reason why this magistration is not just to eliminate the duplication. We need to overhaul. We really do not have a robust diversion deflection. The jail, till I came on, and in some parts, is still a paper system. It's very inefficient because paper, that's the reason why people get stuck or people get released mistakenly because it's a piece of paper that just didn't get across. One of the things that we advocated in the public safety plan was filing, can we use e-bonds in order for the bondsman? And that is coming online as a result of the public safety. Think about it. The bondsman has to fill out his paperwork, maybe in the middle of the night, has to have a runner. The paper gets dropped off. God knows how long that paper gets to the person who then sees that there's a release order. That's the reason why we've had such issues. There's ineffectiveness, inefficiency. Not to blame any elected official, because remember too, Greg, the way county government works, the counties is an extension of the state of Texas. We're only allowed to do what the Constitution allows us to do. The county judge is not a chief executive officer. He is really, if in the business world, he is a chief financial officer. The commissioner's court is in charge of the budgets. I have no power or authority to tell the sheriff how to run his jail. That is given to him by law. I don't tell the judges how to run their courts or move their cases. They are all accountable to the voters. And they make that clear. Now, I do control their budget, and so when they need...
That's a lot of power, by the way.
And that is where, in the political world, that's where the deals get done. That's the reason why commissioner's court, it can be very transactional. In my 30 years that I worked with commissioner's court, it was all transactional. It's who you knew and what you knew. And I used to have to call commissioner's court or the auditor. And guess what? You know who the auditor is answerable to? It's not commissioner's court. It's the judges. And that's the way the law is set up. Purchasing agent, we don't control. We don't hire. It's by a purchasing board, which the judges have primary authority.
Let me just say, nobody understands county government.
That's exactly right, Greg, because it's based on law. And if you don't know law, if you don't know the Constitution, I will submit to you that my opponent, who wants to get the executive experience, is going to be an on-the-job training, and it's going to take a while. So again, stay the course. And you stay the course by my reelection.
I mean, it's based on law. That's true, but it's also based on power and elected office. So you've got, I mean, you as presiding officer over commissioner's court, you deal with elected officials who aren't only answerable to you through the budgetary process, through
but
check
Greg,
writing.
Go back to the court itself. I have 4 county commissioners. Nothing moves forward till you have 3 votes. And each commissioner is very territorial and protective of their precinct. And so sometimes there is issues, disagreements, even among my colleagues. But if you notice and watch our commissioners court, saw you're there, I have insisted on dignity and respect. You don't see the yelling and screaming. You don't see me chewing people out. I insist on order. Guess what? Day one, do we have Robert Rules of Order? No, we didn't. I had to put that as a resolution to adopt Robert's Rules of Order, and so you see it. I invoke point of order. I invoke objection. I tell people, you are violating open meetings to have this discussion. So, Greg, yes, county government can be very confusing and complex, but you got to know the law. That's the reason why I truly believe the county judge has been filled by lawyers. Think about who was the last one that wasn't a lawyer, Greg?
I can't. Yeah. Yeah. Who was it? Smart guy.
Albert Bustamante.
And it did not
40 years ago.
Did not end well with him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so that's the other thing that I bring to the table. I have the highest level of ethics. I still bind myself by judicial ethics, Greg, which means I avoid the appearance of impropriety, which simply means to the public, when it stinks, don't do it. Otherwise, Commissioner's Court, without being children and family focused, without a highest sense of ethics, and I've never been sanctioned in discipline in any way, you know that you are getting integrity, you know that you're dealing with a straight shooter, and you know that my principles and value sets are based on what my grandparents who came from Japan, immigrated from Japan, my father who was interned and incarcerated in World War II, and solely because he was a Japanese American. That's the reason why the rule of law, the protection and defense and the preservation of the United States, I've made it an issue.
Right.
That's the reason why Commissioner's Court has gone all in defense of the immigrant children. What is happening at the federal level with ICE, Department of Homeland Security, Department of Justice is wrong. It's inhumane. It is cruel for a 5-year-old child to be incarcerated. I think of my father as a teenager. That was a story he made me put into my DNA. And so that's the reason why, as county judge, I perhaps am not the flashiest. And I think the law enforcement yesterday said it best yesterday. Judge Sakai doesn't go around taking credit. I am not a career politician. And because of my ethics, I don't lie. I don't mislead. And I truly do. And that's the reason why, Greg, I know a lot of people say my opponent, he's got higher favorability, he's got higher name. I give him that. But I truly believe the voters are going to look at the value set, because if there's any time more than this time, and my message today to the voters is we need to come together as a community. We must unite, and we must unite on common goals and common purposes. And that's the reason why I focus in on the Constitution.
Right.
That's why I focus in and say, let's stay at a back-to-basics approach to government. I don't need legacies. I don't need to build more things.
Well, you could argue,
except that diversion reflection center and moving people out of that Bexar County jail. That is something.
Some things you need to build.
And it doesn't need to be named after me. I promise. I'm on record. Nothing needs to be named after me.
Now, but you could also argue that this too might not be really part of the back to basics agenda you're talking about, and that's the creation of effectively a legal fund for undocumented immigrants.
I dispute that assertion. I dispute it wholeheartedly.
Because this goes back to something Commissioner's Court created in the fall.
No, but let me
just for background, so people know what we're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that's it. So go ahead, jump in.
Guess what? The Texas Supreme Court has a similar program funding indigent immigration services for children and families. Texas Supreme Court. Check it out. The governor's office has a specific budget line item for the same thing. We're just doing what the law requires due process and the enforcement of constitutional rights for everyone, U.S. citizens and anybody that is in the sovereign of the United States. There is no distinction. Now, there are partisan disputes and partisan opinions about don't give those services to those people. It is wrong. It's illegal. It is not. It is based on the Constitution.
And I assume so.
And remember, Greg Jefferson, I'll bring another one.
Okay.
Paxton, Attorney General Paxton, sued me for voter registration. And we fought back. And I believe Bexar County is the only county that has successfully defended itself on voter registration. Why? Not because it was some partisan effort or more Democrats. No, it was to increase the voter registration for both sides, regardless of partisanship, but it was right to vote. I will always fight for constitutional rights, and that was a right to vote initiative that we prevailed in the courts.
So Ken Paxton also sued the county over this legal fund. In fact, the county's in court this morning, trying to fight a temporary restraining order that Paxton is seeking.
And I would have been there, but Greg Jefferson expressed his summon me.
Sorry about that.
But you're right. You're right.
But I mean, that lawsuit had to have been inevitable. I mean, did that not? So you cast that vote almost certain that you were going to get sued.
I understood that was one of the consequences, and that's the price we pay to defend the Constitution. And no second thoughts on that one, Greg Jefferson.
Right. Even if this court fight extends over years and costs millions of dollars in legal fees?
Being a former district court judge, we will find a win-win, and we will find a way to settle this. And I promise it will not be $1 million. It will not be years. Because if you remember the unpaid leave ordinance that the city of San Antonio passed, I personally believed in unpaid leave, but as a matter of a court officer to enforce it was clearly unconstitutional, and I ruled it. I also allowed an immediate appeal to the Court of Appeals, to the Supreme Court. Guess what? That case resolved in 6 months. That didn't languish for years. That did not cost the county, or the city, I should say the city, because it was a city initiative. But understood, people question my values, my democratic values, because I am a lifelong Democrat, Greg. So those issues, whether it's immigration, whether it's unpaid, I am totally to support the employees, the working families, because that's the backbone of our local economy. Working families and small businesses.
Now let's jump into something that I don't know that this has a lot of angles. I'm not sure a partisan bent is one of them. I'm not sure this is a Democratic or Republican thing. That is Project Marvel. So in I think at least one, but probably two debates, you have come out in opposition to the city's planned sports and entertainment district downtown.
Right.
Your opponent, Ron Nirenberg, has expressed shock. Shock that you would come out against this, given that you put Prop B on the November ballot.
I did.
Puts more than 30 million,
300 million up to a 25% cap to protect, and all cost overruns to the Spurs to protect the county and the city.
Right. This is county venue tax funding going into a new Spurs arena, which, and this is complicated, so I'll try to get through it quickly. Yeah, I know. And I know. I'm merely trying to describe the world as I think Ron Nirenberg is describing it,
and it's a different reality.
Well, I'll give him his due. So basically, that was an action in support of a new Spurs arena, but the linchpin of Project Marvel, this kind of sprawling sports and entertainment district, that the heart of it would be a Spurs arena. So to say you're for a Spurs arena but against Project Marvel seems maybe disingenuous.
I did misspoke. Don't know what tense I should say. Misspoke.
Well, if you're going to speak again,
so what I want to make crystal clear is that I support referendums A, which was the investment in the county facilities, more importantly, the revitalization of the East Side. I am crystal clear to support referendum B. I supported to call election to give the voters that voice in the process. I clearly advocated for referendums A and B, which was only for a Spurs arena. The city of San Antonio rolled out Project Marvel in this. And I will tell you, in talking to the city and the Spurs, I said, I am not supporting Project Marvel, but I understand that's what the city want for this revitalization. And so, inartfully, I said, no. I said no to Project Marvel, with people now saying, well, you didn't support. No, I am totally committed to referendum B for the Spurs arena, because by law, and again, I take back law that says that the county venue tax could only go to a venue tied to tourist economic development. So for the referendum election in November, I was clearly out in front to support it, and I still do. And I'm not backing away, because we could not afford to lose the Spurs. And that was a possibility if this referendum did not pass. Two is I have stated on the campaign in regards to the revitalization of the east side, what was the land bridge going to bring?
Right.
What was the new hotel going to bring? What was going to be removing the chillers and all the other parts? I think some money to the Alamo Dome, some money to the convention center. And I put that as a question to the east side. Are y'all going to get any? Isn't that all part of the history of the east side? We have these huge projects. What I truly would have hoped and had with my opponent, who did not work with me on that, was that could we rebrand, so to speak, the election to say this? Can it be a revitalization of east side and downtown through economic development through a public-private partnership? Much like what we did for the baseball stadium, for which I brought and got done, and it's going to happen. 2028, we're going to have a new baseball. But more importantly, we got a $1 billion commitment for economic development by Graham Weston and Western Urban. Guess what? We had that same commitment from the Spurs of $1.5 billion. But I would want the city of San Antonio, and I will partner with them, that I want, and we can call it Project, but I really would like to call it another name, but let's call it Project Marvel, but Project Marvel focusing on basic services. And Greg, we got a problem in that area downtown where they want to put the Spurs Arena in Hemisphere with parking, with traffic flow.
Right.
And so instead of spending $4 to $5 billion, land bridge, moving the chillers, new hotel, no, we need parking, and we got to figure it out, and we got to figure it out real fast, and we got to figure out traffic flow.
Right.
That's going to be the big ticket. And we can't spend $4 to $5 billion on things that will not help the neighborhood. The neighborhoods, Lavaca, King William neighborhoods have articulated. That was their opposition.
But those neighbors might say the Spurs Arena is the catalytic thing that is going to set all of this in motion.
It is.
Like all these problems.
And that's the reason why
go back to that arena.
Today, and what I said before, I've said it at Bob Rivard's podcast. I said it on KSAT. Go and look at the record. If you want me to pull that, I was always distancing myself from Project Marvel in regards to those projects that it was. My question now is, Greg, what is Project Marvel? What is it?
Well, it's the Spurs Arena. It's an expanded convention center. It's an upgraded Alamo Dome. It is a converted federal courthouse, which good luck with that. And,
Greg, again, what are those projects going to do for for basic services?
Yeah.
We got to fix parking. We got to fix traffic flow. So
they'll have nothing to do with that.
Right. And that's what I'm bringing out. And that's the reason why I want conversations. Is that conversation ongoing with the city? That's ongoing.
So the county is going to be part owner of this arena.
Yes.
Right. And this is assuming everything pans out and the thing gets built. Now,
and it's not going, there's nothing shovel ready. In the next 2-3 years is going to be the hard details. And what the county wants to do is to bring in community engagement on the revitalization of the east side. That's what I said over on the east side. I am committed. And of course it got twisted that, I flip-flop. I did not flip-flop. I am totally committed on the new Spurs Arena. But let's stick to basics. Let's stick to what is going to help people. I want downtown revitalization. Sure, there are pieces. I can see the expansion of the convention center. Alamo Dome needs to be renovated just as the Frost Bank Center needs to be renovated. I could not allow the Frost Bank Center and the Coliseum grounds to become the next Astrodome. That's why we're putting $200 million. But we want to do it through public-private partnerships. Right. I've also identified a possibility, and I need the city of San Antonio's cooperation because they own it, Willow Springs Golf Course. Can you envision a hotel with a golf course? Why can't we re-envision that as a JW Marriott TPC, Hyatt Hill Country Golf Course? Why can't we redo Salado Creek? Not to make it a San Pedro Creek and the immense cost that did, but can we then create a trail, which we've identified through the Greater Springs Trail, to tie Hay Street Bridge to the Frost, to the Salado Creek, and the trail all the way down to the Arboretum on the southeast, which is Henry Cisneros' dream, which will be a nationally renowned Arboretum. We have, and then further, it is my vision to deindustrialize that area and to provide the incentives to hopefully move out some of those property owners that own warehouses
Yeah.
and then remake them. Why can't there be schools? Why can't there be hospitals? Why can't there be substations, police or law enforcement? Those are the things that the community has really clearly stated. But for referendums A and B, it was a county venue tax that had to go to venue.
Right.
And so again, I am not backtracking. I am not flip-flopping. I am totally committed to keep the Spurs.
Right.
It appears in the current discussions, the Spurs are probably going to stay till the end of the lease, 2032.
Right.
So we have a lot of times to get it right, Greg, and we can't mess up.
Yeah.
The East Side, I believe, and I think Express News reported it out, the East Side did not support A or B.
No.
But understood that in my conversations with the people that oppose it, Cox Mitchell, for instance, they backed down and on Proposition A. And so you saw an overwhelming number support Proposition A. Project Marvel nearly brought down Proposition B. And it took me to articulate that. So I have, again...
It took more than $7 million campaign for the Spurs to make it happen, and it was still, 52, 53%.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
It's a squeaker. But did election night, were you worried that that was going to rebound badly on you? I mean, this was your proposition, and it squeaked by just barely.
I'm not a career politician. As a district court judge, I call them like I see them. And, and in the court system, 50% love you and 50% hate you. And I'm used to that political world. So when I showed up, it was to celebrate. And I was glad that I could join the Spurs. It was I was there with Commissioner Rebecca Clay Flores. She and I partnered together. And we have a great partnership. She's endorsed my campaign, and we're moving forward, and we're going to make county and we're going to be Bexar County strong. We're going to build a better Bexar, which is going to be effective, efficient. It's going to be open and transparent. Oh, guess what, Greg? As county judge, I did budget town hall meetings. Nobody has done that for 30 years until I did.
About transparency. All right, let's talk for a moment about the East Side Economic Development Advisory Council. So this was a body that you organized with State Representative Barbara Griffin Hawkins to offer advice for a development plan for the East Side, right? Now, this thing has operated unless it's changed. It's operated with a lot of secrecy. It's got 15 members. It didn't have a public agenda, still doesn't, as far as I can tell. I checked this morning, could not find a public agenda for this anywhere. And the members have signed non-disclosure agreements.
Right.
So I'd like to know why we should trust or consider anything they produce legitimate if it's all happening in secret.
It's not in secret.
It is though.
we are subject to open meetings.
That's I mean, to say that you could always do, find out what we're up to through an open records request. Are you honestly saying that's transparency?
What we did in order to form this council was the request of the individual members that they wished to have an NDA, which we copied from the city of San Antonio, which required me within the negotiations with the city and the Spurs. So this NDA is not a county driven.
But so you took something that you've criticized the city for, using non-disclosure agreements in terms of development of Project Marvel, and you're now using it
because the council the volunteers wanted to be protected for their privacy.
I mean, maybe I chose the wrong members then, if they felt like, they wanted privacy. No, this is a public body.
These are people that live, work, and play in the East Side. And I challenge you on that because they are volunteers who are committed.
Are you telling me, would you do this? Would you organize it the same way? Like, would you?
Yes.
Really? So
no, it would. Okay, let's unpack that.
All right.
We did this in order to protect the council members, not because I wanted it. We had a robust discussion, and so would I do it again? Sure, I would do that if that's what required in order to get people to step up. Because Greg, we live in a tough world. Everything's weaponized. People's lives are put on record, and
yet, like how many boards and commissions do you find in county government
Right.
and in city government that don't sign it?
But my commitment,
and do have
my
public
commitment of
agenda?
this is to make sure that we are going to be open and transparent. And I want to bring this issue back to the council and ask for their, because this is a council-driven process. It's not me. It's not. This was driven by the.
But I mean, you and Representative Gervin Hawkins set the parameters. Like if you didn't want there to be NDAs, there would not be NDAs.
No, we feel that this needed to be a driven process. And here's a memo to the file that has also shows, contrary to what my opponent is saying, we've included the Councilman McKee Rodriguez. We've included Councilman Calvert.
So they're on the.
They were on the invitation list. They showed up. Their staff has showed
But
up.
they don't sit on the committee.
They've been invited to participate, and they have been participating.
But they're not part of the 15-member group. Okay.
That was
So the actual-
the co-chairs are me and Representative Barbara Gervin Hawkins.
Why not put them on, like as regular members?
Because the issues require a county-state initiative. So that's the reason why Barbara's on there. Barbara's on there in order so that what we need by legislation. So, so to speak, we made that decision. That's the way we set it up. Sure, we can look in retrospect and say should have been different. Sure, we would consider that.
Now, I think we could spend all day on Project Marvel.
Right.
It's county government's big, and we have a lot to talk about.
The
You won.
Spurs
What-
won,
right.
and I supported them.
Now, one question though. So very early on, way before you called for a property, Proposition B election. You were talking about, well, I'm not going to be the county judge to lose the Spurs. I'm not going to. They're not on my watch.
Right.
And the idea being, if the Spurs, who no longer want to be in the county-owned Frost Bank Center, if they don't get a downtown arena, they might relocate. They might leave San Antonio. Isn't that a bad bargaining position to put yourself in when you're dealing with the Spurs, to say at the outset, I'm going to do whatever to keep you because I'm very concerned about you leaving?
Isn't it the truth, Greg?
I don't know. They say no. I mean, like they've never
I
said.
know that, and I took Peter John Holt at its word, but also understand they're a business, and that we know that Las Vegas and other areas, I think it was Seattle, there are people that are looking to negotiate, and we have to understand that even though the Holts, and I take Peter John Holt and his family at his word, they're still a business, and I could not take that risk. So that's the reason why, as a former court judge, I talk straight. And if that is to my detriment, I understand that. And sometimes I mistake things, and I've tried to clear that up. But in regards to Project Marvel, in regards to my commitment to the Spurs, no. We have prevailed, and we're going to build a new Spurs arena. We're going to have a revitalization in the east side, and I want to participate with the city as to what Project Marvel, or whatever we can call it, is to the revitalization of downtown. But let's focus on basics. We got to get that parking and traffic flow fixed. It's a nightmare now.
It's going to get much worse.
And if you think about it, think about the downtown area, especially Broadway, the St. Mary's Strip, and the City of San Antonio projects. It's been a nightmare. And so we need to protect the neighborhoods. We need to protect the small businesses. And that's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to articulate for those that don't have a seat at the table. So I understand people question my leadership style. Some people may question decisions, but it is always about fighting for the working families. It's always about children and family focus. It's all about basic services. And I'm not apologizing for anything that's been said. Should have cleared up some of the misstatements.
Now, the city, kind of in exchange for city funding for Spurs arenas, the city is getting about $70 million from the Spurs to do with whatever it wants. Did you err in not getting a similar agreement?
No, we made a strategic decision that we were going to put the revitalization of the east side first. What the Spurs were looking for in the initial negotiation was $500 million by the county, $500 million by the city, and they would put $500, equal share. And I said, no, we're going to put the revitalization first. So that pulled $200 million out. That $200 million is a community benefit all in itself, Greg Jefferson. also know that now and in the future in these contracts, we are going to be defining what further community benefits. People don't realize in that downtown, and that's the reason why I support the new arena, because it's going to create a new, I believe, a TERS, a tax increment reinvestment zone, a taxing district. The county projected to make $75 million out of that in the growth of the arena over that time period for the repayment of the bonds that will pay, so that none of this are falling on the homeowner property tax. That was another negotiation. Just like baseball stadium, no homeowner property tax. And we needed substantial equity by the private ownership. We wanted to make this a public-private partnership. The private ownership is putting their money into this. So this is a win-win all the way around. So I get in the heat of this reelection, did Sakai do this or Sakai do that? But I have been consistent to make sure that we protect the working families and that we protect the small business. We have an opportunity with that $75 million in that TERS or whatever special taxing entity to then, and as county judge, that's my vision and leadership. We pull that back. That's going back to basic services for the entire county.
Okay.
So people say, well, what about the south side? What about the west side? What about the north side? And so we want to make sure that we're focused on affordable housing. We want to make sure people don't realize in what we have prioritized, Greg. I have identified food insecurity, healthcare access insecurity, and affordable housing insecurity. What have I done? I've leaned to and called a food security summit, bringing the experts together. We've identified there's a disconnect among the nonprofits, and we need to use technology to bring it all together. Healthcare access. I'm committed to work with University Health System, the county hospital. People don't recognize that it's a county hospital that will have to take care of indigent care, and that will fall on the local taxpayers. Well, guess what? We've got to make sure that we've got hospitals and clinics that will provide access as the federal government pulls all these support programs. Affordable housing. The number one issue on this community to the open and transparent budget town hall meetings is the homelessness issue, the unhoused. And as we dealing with the economic crisis, we see more and more people falling into the homeless issue. And so the county is committed, it's never done before prior to me, to focus in on housing. And we're focusing on affordable housing, the urban core. That's the strength of that baseball project contract. I made a commitment for 1,250 housing units for the urban core, which is mainly San Antonio Independent School District, but that also includes Harlandale, Edgewood, South San.
Right, but that also includes the raising of the soap factory apartments, which is
I understood that.
one of the very few affordable apartment options.
But in the long term, that in private-public partnership with Western Urban, $1 billion to that area is going to generate the additional tax revenues that will not fall on the homeowners. People don't recognize that we can't put the burden on property tax homeowners. That's the reason why no jail. It's going to be a budget buster. Right. I will not put that on and then we have to even do more for our seniors and disabled veterans by increasing the caps so that they have further discounts. So we've reduced the bill for the seniors and disabled. And what we've also been able to do is also grow. Because what you see, the prototype, Greg, is what's happened in the far west toward Medina along 90 and go around to the south side. Because we brought new industries, just recently Sanko and American Katera from Japan, as a result of my leadership, we've got growth out there. Economic growth means economic prosperity.
Could I jump in for a moment? Because we've gone from downtown to the far reaches of the
and that's intentional, Greg, because it is about bringing in growth to the entire community so that we can focus in on the urban core. Because the only way those school districts in the urban core are going to survive is growing enrollment under our current public finance.
Let's talk about
if we don't bring children and families into the urban core, those public schools, it's a poor prognosis.
All right. Let's talk. Yeah, go.
Let's completely switch gears here. Like you said, talk about budgets. Something you've campaigned on is on passing balanced budgets since you took office. You've talked about in debates. There's a big billboard on I-35, but doing that, I mean, it's something required by state law, right?
Great.
All 254 counties do it every single year.
That's right.
Why is that something you're campaigning on?
Because within that budget goes to priorities. And where is the county taxpayer money going to go to? Is it going to go to legacy projects? Is it going to go to whatever projects each county commissioner wishes? We have to balance it out and make priorities a clear principles that people understand. Public safety, public health, economic development, workforce training. Workforce training is an integral part of the county because we sponsor and pay for Texas Fast Track and Texas Fame, which have the highest and is the best workforce training that pushes and creates advanced training, advanced manufacturing training jobs over in the South Side. We are meeting the needs of those industries that are coming and are coming in the future. And so that is what's going to, so in regards to balanced budget, if you don't have balanced budget, then guess what? You have deficits. Isn't the city of San Antonio got a $140, $150 million deficit? And they'll end up balancing it. But they're balancing it by compromising on public safety.
I mean, isn't that like saying, because I didn't get a speeding ticket, I'm an amazing driver? I mean,
You're right. You're right. If you don't have a speeding
I
ticket,
don't have to get but I'm not an amazing driver.
Either Greg or you got radar detectors,
right,
or you don't drive.
I drive. I don't get a lot of tickets, and I'm not a great driver. I can admit that. So how is it any different? I mean, this is something you're legally obligated to do. I mean, under the Texas Constitution.
Remember what I said. It's about priorities.
So you're talking about the way you do it, like how you.
It's about process.
And why not just say that in the campaign, rather than, make a big deal out of something you're legally required to do?
Okay. I understand your point.
Right.
But the issue is my vision and my leadership means I'm not going to increase property taxes. I will not balance it on the backs of the seniors or the disabled veterans or first responders. I also want to make sure that what we do is not cut into basic services. We've increased the number of deputies. We've increased in the sheriffs, the constables. We've had that discussion here at Express News. You got to do away with constables. And the thing is, but it's by state law. And I have in fact enhanced their ability to serve papers. We know that constables, they got shot and they've been shot at. And so I got to make sure that they have the training, that they have an adequate number so that they serve the paper, they protect the court, and then they provide additional protection. That's what we call basic services government.
Under Judge Sakai are the days gone in county government where you have funding for a San Pedro Creek Culture Park or a Mission Reach
If we continue to have economic growth, and if you look at the far west to the south, I am really committed now as it moves toward the southeast and into the east side, that we will have tremendous economic growth. That's where we don't have to raise property tax. That's where we then can look. I've reduced what we call our capital project debt, the big tickets, $85 million. And understand, we had the highest per capita debt. That was an issue brought out in my first campaign. And we have reduced it so we have taken an austere look at our budget. We scrubbed to try to eliminate the waste. We scrubbed. Now, the ARPA money that's been, and my opponents made an issue, we have done what's called revenue replacement strategies, which means we banked that money.
Pandemic era relief.
Yes, right. That is going to be gone by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Well, that money is now available to keep sustainment, but I want a return of investment for all those programs, especially in mental health. We put $20 million in mental health. We're putting $21 million into an advanced next generation flood warning system. And so, again, back to basics, Greg. And so I am confident we will look at those big legacy projects. But right now, we're in a crisis.
Just the way you say legacy makes me think you're really not into them.
I don't need anything named after me, Greg. Can I make it more clear? I don't need anything named after me. I want what's good for working families. I want what's good for children and families. And I'm going to keep repeating that so that the people, and that's the reason why I'm going to win and I'm going to prevail, because people know who I am. They trust me. And just like I said earlier, when You don't change the quarterbacks when you're winning the game.
All right.
And we're winning in regards to our budget,
Yeah.
a balanced budget that is required by law, but it's the implementation, execution, open and transparent so that people know that I have prioritized homeless issues, crime, and no increase in poverty. I heard that clearly through an open and transparent process, having budget town hall meetings.
So you've got
That's my leadership as county judge.
now you've got an early voting period opening on Tuesday.
February 17th.
And, yeah, and you've got a county elections office who has kind of struggled a bit with
I have to work hand in hand with that county, who answers to an election commissioners, not to the commissioners court.
Right, but in November, obviously, voters saw a backlog of 70,000 registrations ahead of the election.
And it got knocked out.
And there was a much smaller backlog this time around, but in November, yourself and commissioners promised that you'd have this new vendor, VR Systems, in time for this primary, and that hasn't happened. I mean, what has taken the county so long to get this contract done?
It's the legal part to make sure that I protect the taxpayer money. This is a multi-million-dollar project. This will be a multi-year project. We are committed to this particular vendor because there's really no other vendor. What we call
There's only 2 approved.
there's really a sole source. And we were thrown in disarray when the prior vendor, I think it was Votech, just basically walked off. They literally walked off. And so my commitment now, why is it taking so long? It's the legality of those contracts. And as a current attorney and former judge, I am not going to make a bad deal. I am just not. I'm not going to be called out later, go, why did you sign this contract? It releases them from liability. It doesn't hold them accountable. It doesn't help the taxpayers. So from a taxpayer perspective, I'm going to make sure now it's going to get done. I am pushing everything I can on the lawyers who continue to go back and forth. And we are making progress. Our county manager's office has said, Judge, we're almost there. We should have that contract ready to sign, and I'm ready to sign that and have it ready for the fall election. Even if we were to have done it in the spring year, it wouldn't have been ready for the primary. And so
Could have been ready for a runoff, for example.
no, everything's going to have to be primed for the fall.
all right. I'm looking at your Apple Watch, which is very nice, and I see you've been here an hour. That's a long time. You're a man with a campaign, so I know. You look like you've been having a ball.
And I'm ready. I got
No, I
more
know,
stuff.
I know.
I
You've
got
only-
more stuff to share with
you've
you
only
in
dipped
order
in-
to push back
That's right.
on the misinformation.
That's right. And you've only dipped into it 6 times, so you know. But we're going to let you
There's
go.
documentation.
Right.
Documentation, my friend.
You got it. You can get copies of that at the door if you want. Anyway, but thank you very much, Judge Sakai. We appreciate you stopping by. Thanks a lot, and we'll
This is
see you
the
again.
class. Thank you, Greg.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thank you, Saul Pink, also known as
Sid Vicious Pink.
My
All right, and Nancy.
I didn't put that.
Yeah. All right, and thank you for joining us. We will be back next week, hopefully, with his opponent, Ron Nirenberg. Thanks a lot. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye, guys.